I told you that a team with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal in their first year would get swept out the playoffs, and in their second year be even worse? A team that's below 500 and might not even make the play-in. You say I'm crazy. You say I'm a hater. You say I don't want the Suns to succeed. Maybe I'm a KD hater or Buck hater. You would say I'm a lot of things. But unfortunately, that is the case. The Suns are currently the 11th seed in the Western Conference and 4 games below 500. Not only that, they are just 1 game above the Portland Trailblazers, who is a team that doesn't have that much talent. This is a team that we all thought would be tanking. You know what I'm saying? They have some good young pieces, potentially budding stars, but no upper echelon talent in the likes of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. This is insane. So, why are the Phoenix Suns so bad? Is it coaching? Is it the players? Like, how did we get here? Let's start from the beginning. In the 2019-2020 season, the Phoenix Suns were a nice, young, and up-and-coming team that were making a lot of noise in the bubble during that COVID year. In the offseason after, they made a trade to get Chris Paul on their team, and that season was spectacular. This team went all the way to the NBA Finals and came 2 games away from being NBA champions until, Giannis came back from a hyperextended knee and shut all that championship shit down for the Suns. Okay, fine, you didn't win it this first year with Chris Paul. That's perfectly fine. You did make a lot of progress. You went all the way to the finals. Let's run it back. And they did do that. The year after, the Phoenix Suns looked like an extremely dominant team. They were the top seed in the Western Conference, poised to make another deep run in the playoffs until, they ran against a generational talent. Another one. And Luka Doncic in the second round of the playoffs. And Luka Doncic completely dismantled that team in the Game 7. It was a nice back and forth series until we got to that Game 7 where Luka Doncic just completely took over the Phoenix Suns within their own building, got spanked, blown out in a Game 7 in their house. At this point, the Suns' main problems really had to do with coaching. Monty Williams was a competent enough coach to get you some wins in the regular season, maybe a couple good wins in the playoffs, but when it came down to really making key adjustments, he just wasn't able to do it, especially against generational talents. We saw in the NBA Finals against Giannis, he had DeAndre Ayton guarding Giannis one-on-one when we saw no one has ever had success guarding Giannis one-on-one, and we have seen other teams like the Miami Heat impose a good strategy against Giannis by building a wall to try and prevent Giannis to easily walk in the paint and dominate. Then we saw him against Luka Doncic in the second round the year after. Just let Luka Doncic do whatever the hell he wanted. Okay, Mikal Bridges is not guarding Luka Doncic. Come on, can we be for real? Also, apparently, him and DeAndre Ayton didn't really see eye to eye during their time in Phoenix. So that also led to some chemistry issues. We've seen DeAndre Ayton have questions and reports about him questioning whether or not he really cared, whether he was really locked into the Phoenix Suns team, around the players, around the coaches. So that also played in a role of their demise in that second round. The Suns also did lack size on their front line. They had DeAndre Ayton and JaVale McGee, but outside of that, they really didn't have much size. Yes, you had guys like Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and Mikal Bridges who are very good and solid 3-and-D wings, but when it comes to grabbing rebounds, hustling for loose balls, they are not really doing that. And those are things that the Phoenix Suns could really have used during the playoff run. But at the end of the day, it wasn't that bad. Yes, it was a terrible loss, but hey, we can regroup in the offseason, come back next year stronger. We're still a relatively young team. We have a lot of draft capital. We have good assets. Let's regroup, make the team better, and come back stronger for the next year. They didn't do that. Safe to say that they didn't do that. They pretty much kept the same team. Chris Paul only got a year older. We still got Monty Williams as the coach. So what do we really expect the Phoenix Suns to go here? Well, they started the year off being a pretty decent team in the Western Conference. They were on the 4 or 5 seed, but it was very clear that they weren't the same dominant team that they were the year prior that was poised for a deep playoff run. Chris Paul had took a step back. You could see it in this game. Monty Williams, for some reason, said, fuck Dre Crowder. He said, fuck Dre Crowder. Don't come back. We're trying to trade you, so we don't even want you on this team. Don't really know what happened there. And then they also were going through a change in ownership, getting Robert Sarver out and bringing in Matt Ishbia. So they did have a lot of things going on from that aspect, but you could tell that the team just wasn't really the same. They needed to make another move to help the on-court play as well. So what was happening? They were in conversations about John Collins, but as we all know, they ended up with a big fish and landed none other than Kevin Durant himself. Yes, Kevin Durant. They gave up Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, and a boatload of picks to get Kevin Durant to pair up with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton. Now, first, I'm looking at this trade like, well, fuck this trade. As a Nets fan, I'm like, well, you just blew up my whole fucking team. We lost Kyrie, we lost KD, and now, so fuck the Suns. Fuck the Suns. But, when we look at it from an objective lens, you feel me? When we look at it from an objective lens, I'm like, oh, wow, you have Kevin Durant with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, who was old but still a good point guard, able to play, get those guys in positions to dominate and score, and then you have DeAndre Ayton, who was a very competent center, to hold down the fort in the front line. I'm like, oh my god, this team is going to be filthy. I bet all Suns fans were salivating at the idea of having a team like this. There's no way you could fuck this up, right? Then we get to the playoffs and we kind of saw the vision of a Kevin Durant and Devin Booker duo come to fruition. They faced the Clippers in the first round. And I'm not going to lie, Kawhi Leonard was low-key giving belt to ass. You know what I'm saying? He played that one game and looked like he was about to take the Clippers over the Suns his damn self. But Kawhi goes down and then Devin Booker since then was immaculate. Okay, I have never seen Devin Booker play at such a high level that he did in that 2023 playoffs. He was not missing, okay? And then Kevin Durant was playing up and down basketball, but he was still Kevin Durant, still played solid overall, and they eventually do lose to the Denver Nuggets, but that's perfectly fine considering this is their first playoff run together. CP3 went down with the injury. DeAndre Ayton also went down, and people are once again questioning whether or not he's quitting on the team or if it's a legit injury or not. So considering that, you get bounced out in the second round of the playoffs, but the Kevin Durant and Devin Booker duo looks promising. So we get into that offseason, and they make 3 key moves. Okay, 3 key moves, and this is where things get shaky. The first key move that they make is that they fire Monty Williams. Yes, they fired their coach, and that is a perfectly fine decision. Like I said earlier, I also don't think Monty Williams was the right guy for the job. When it came down to making key adjustments, he just wasn't doing it. Also with rotations, very questionable. He also was getting into predicaments with Ayton, Jay Crowder, so he just wasn't the right guy. It's perfectly fine to move off of him, and then they hire Frank Vogel to take his place. Frank Vogel is a defensive-oriented coach. He came from the Los Angeles Lakers with championship experience. So, honestly, I like the Frank Vogel hire. Now, the next move that they make is that they trade Chris Paul away and get Bradley Beal instead. We bring in Bradley Beal. We're trying to form this big 3, trying to have a super team, and that trade is a very questionable trade, but I didn't think it's that bad. I still don't think the Bradley Beal trade was that bad, even with the current success of the team. Well, the current lack of success with the team. They formed a super team, but they still kept DeAndre Ayton in that team. So we have Devin Booker, who's probably going to play the point guard position. And we saw without Chris Paul in the playoffs, Devin Booker was a perfectly fine point guard. He was still able to get his buckets, but he still has an ability to facilitate as well. So you have Devin Booker, you have a Bradley Beal, you got a KD, you just got to find someone to fill the extra forward spot, and then you got DeAndre Ayton. That is a great starting 5 to have. Then they fuck it all up. Third move that they make is that they trade DeAndre Ayton. They trade Ayton along with Toumani Camara, who we all see in Portland is doing a pretty damn good job over there as a nice 3-and-D wing. They flip them to the Portland Trailblazers and get back Yusuf Nurkic and Grayson Allen. But Yusuf Nurkic, what are you doing? Once I saw that trade, I was like, oh my God, the Phoenix Suns just got fleeced. And not only did they get fleeced, they just got rid of all their championship hopes. And not only did they get rid of all their championship hopes, you know what the Phoenix Suns front office did? They helped the Milwaukee Bucks, the team that just beat them in the NBA Finals, they helped them get Damian Lillard? What? And then they go ahead and help the Boston Celtics get Drew Holiday in response to that trade? What? Phoenix, that was the clear and utter turning point of the entire organization. The Yusuf Nurkic trade is the reason why the Phoenix Suns are in this mess. What are you doing? Yusuf Nurkic at that point in time was washed. At a point in time, when Yusuf Nurkic was playing in Portland with Day, he was a solid, okay starting center, you know what I'm saying? But by that point, Nurkic has had multiple injuries. He is not a good defender. He is not a good finisher at the basket. He can pass a little bit, but that's it. You're trading DeAndre Ayton. This is a guy who has had good to honestly sometimes great moments in the playoffs. He can, at least move his feet. You know what I'm saying? He could jump. He was a lob threat, and he was good at protecting the rim. And then you ship him out of Portland. You're number 1 overall, and you bring in Yusuf Nurkic, and you get rid of Tumani Carrera, who you can easily use right now. That makes no sense. You got back Grayson Allen, who's a solid shooter for you. He was solid, okay, but even then, Grayson Allen does not make up for the loss in DeAndre Ayton and Tumani Camara while you're helping the ops. What? So, from that point on, the Phoenix Suns fell off. It was over at that point. To me, I was like, it's already over. And it was just a matter of time until everybody else saw the same thing. When you are in a Western Conference that has Nikola Jokic, that has Rudy Gobert, that had Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis. Come on, man. Can we use our brains here? Come on. So now that you don't have this center, and this is going to be a clear piece, it was only a matter of time until you realize that, oh wow, Yusuf Nurkic is not the right guy. And because Yusuf Nurkic is not the right guy, you have to figure out a way to get a new guy that is the right guy. But guess what? You can't do that because you traded for Bradley Beal. And unfortunately, you traded for him at the wrong time because, well, Bradley Beal making $50 million. Well, Kevin Durant making $50 million. Devin Booker making $50 million. And the second apron tax has decided to kick in. The new CBA came into fruition. We got the second apron tax. We got the second apron tax penalties. So now you can't even rebuild this team. You can't even easily trade Nurkic. You just got to stick with them for the foreseeable future. Bradley Beal got a no trade clause, so you can't even really flip him. You know what I'm saying? Because he gets to decide where the fuck he want to go. So now we get into this sole first season of the Phoenix Suns Big Three. And, well, we all see how that went. The Phoenix Suns were up and down. Kevin Durant had some injuries. Devin Booker also had a couple injuries. Bradley Beal obviously had his injuries. So we got these injury-prone Big Three. We're doing okay in the regular season, but we're not a great team. We are doing just well enough just to not be in the play-in. Like, we were in the play-in mix, battling in the 7 to 8 seed, but we did well enough just to grab that 16 so we don't got to go through the play-in. But now we have to go against the Minnesota Timberwolves, who have Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert. And guess who was going against Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert? Yusuf Nurkic. So, obviously, what happened? They get spanked. Swept. Didn't win a single game. Now you got Kevin Durant Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, these are supposed to be all-stars. Kevin Durant, generational talent. Devin Booker, elite all-NBA player. And Bradley Beal, a 30-point per game scorer, all-star player. And they get swept. They don't even get a single game off. And it's because they got no front line. They ain't got nobody to go against Rudy Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns. So now they get swept. They can't win any games. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, they looking bad. It's hurting their legacies. And it's all because of a stupid decision by the front office. Then they go into the offseason and they're like, what can we do to improve this team? We obviously can't make a lot of moves with the players on the team because, like I said, the second apron tax penalties. So what can we do? They fire Frank Vogel. They fire their coach because that's always the number one move when the GM in the front office, when they fuck up, who got to take the blame? Got to be the coach. And there was apparently reports of Frank Vogel apparently losing the locker room. All right, if that's really the case, I get it. But obviously, you can't make no changes with the roster. So now you got to fire the coach. And then who do you bring in? You bring in Coach Bud? Mike Budenholzer? Really? Really? There's a reason why he got fired from Milwaukee, but of course, let's just bring him in. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's refreshed. Maybe he's rejuvenated. He is the guy who beat us. So let's bring him in, and hopefully he can lead us to the championship, right? No. No. You still didn't address the issues with the roster, so you just giving a different coach the same roster, and this coach is not going to be the coach to maximize this roster. Frank Vogel deserves a lot of credit for making the Suns a decent defense. Somehow, some way, Frank Vogel had this team being a decent-ish defense with a Yusuf Nurkic as their starting center, which is why they were even able to be a top 6 seed last year. Now we getting Coach Bud, who isn't equipped to do that, and now the Phoenix Suns go from the 6th seed to the 11th seed in the Western Conference, and that is where we are here today. We are here today with the Phoenix Suns being an 11th seed in the Western Conference. They just made some moves at the deadline, and they are still losing games after having made those moves. So let's look at this deadline a bit closer because we had this Jimmy Butler saga of him trying to force his way to Phoenix. We're trying to formulate a new big three with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. We're trying to get rid of Bradley Beal. Bring in Jimmy Butler. We got a new big three. It's a bit better because Jimmy Butler adds a different piece. He plays defense. He makes a bit. That's something Bradley Beal doesn't do. And, you know, Jimmy Butler is just the overall better player. So let's bring in Jimmy Butler. But like I said, you can't really do that because Bradley Beal got that no trade clause. He's making $50 million. Still got a couple years left on his deal. So how are you really going to be able to get Jimmy Butler to Phoenix? Very, very tough. Obviously, they wasn't able to do it because of the restrictions and the challenges that come with that. So they're like, if we can't get Bradley Beal out of here for Jimmy Butler, what if we got KD out of here for Jimmy Butler? What the fuck? You're trying to snake KD? How are you about to trade? What? First of all, Kevin Durant. Jimmy Butler. First of all, let's start there. Let's start there. Kevin Durant? We're trading Kevin Durant? What are you doing? And then you're going to bring in Jimmy Butler? For what? For what? What do you think a team with Jimmy Butler instead of Kevin Durant is going to do? What? And now you got Kevin Durant here and his name in trade rumors. He's like, yo, what the fuck is going on? What? Y'all about to trade me to Golden State? I don't want to go back there. What are we doing here? I thought we was getting Jimmy Butler in for Bill. Fuck Bill. What? Now you trying to get rid of me? I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am. So now you're pissing off KD. You're pissing off one of the guys that's a part of the big three after already pissing off Bradley Beal because you had his name in trade rumors the whole time. So now you got 2 out of the 3 members of the big three pissed off at the franchise. So now the whole morale of the team is at an all-time low. Who the fuck wants to be on the Phoenix Suns now, man? Who the fuck will want to be? I don't want to be on the Suns. So now you're really at a state of no return because you got 2 out of the big 3 pissed off. You did trade away Yusuf Nurkic, so congratulations. Phoenix Suns fans, you can walk away with that. Yusuf Nurkic is at least off your team. But Clearly, that hasn't really even done much because the vibes are so low. You can see the Phoenix Suns play such uninspirational basketball. Coach Bud is not infusing this team with any fire, any passion. No one's really trying to play for him right now. And we just had a report saying that Coach Bud told Devin Booker, the face of the franchise, to not be as vocal during team huddles? What? If anything, this team needs a more vocal leader to help guide them and galvanize the group. And you're telling Devin Booker to damn near shut up and dribble? What are you doing? So at this point, man, like I said, we're at a state of no return with the Phoenix Suns, man. I don't even see this team making the playoffs, man. They have enough talent to make the play-in, but the playoffs definitely seems like too far from their sights, man. It looks like they're gonna trade Kevin Durant, because that's really the only thing they can really do. That's the only guy that they can really get assets back for, unless they're going to trade Devin Booker, but that's their young star in the franchise. So they're going to trade KD in the offseason because they can't trade Bill and get assets back. So you got to trade KD. And if I'm Devin Booker, I'm looking at this team without KD. I'm like, I don't think I want to be here either. So dbook could request out. Shit, Bradley Beal could stay just because he, wants to just have his family or whatever, saying got the no trade clause. He could stay, he could leave. Like at this time, blow it all up. Blow it all up, bro. It's cooked, bro. It's cooked, man. You might as well trade KD to Dallas. Send dbook to Houston. Send Bradley Beal wherever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just blow it all up. Get aspects, get your picks back, man, and just blow it all up. It's done. It's cooked. It's done. I'm sorry, Suns fans, but it's over. And who do you have to blame? The front office. The front office of the Phoenix Suns. Horrible job. Horrible job. Terrible mismanagement of assets. Terrible decisions with coaching hires, and destroying relationships with their current players and faces of their franchise. Bro, you can say the players didn't play up to par, the coaches didn't do this didn't go through. Oh my God, bro, it all leads up to the front office of the Phoenix Suns, man. It all stems from them. And until the Phoenix Suns decides to clean house, get rid of their front office, they need a new GM, need a new president of basketball operations. Until they do that, the Phoenix Suns will forever be cooked. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It really helps me in the channel a lot. And feel free to leave down in the comments what you guys think is the real problem with the Phoenix Suns. I laid out what I think the Phoenix Suns problem is. It all comes from the front office, man. Let me know what you guys think. And yeah, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.